My name's Sharon Moulton, M-O-U-L-T-O-N, and I'm from Northampton, and the city councilors were all busy, but on June 4th, they passed with 100% approval the first reading of the following resolution, and I'm going to skip the whereases and I'll hand those to you, and I'll just read what they resolved. Number 1, calls on Columbia Gas and Berkshire Gas to embrace complete transparency and make public all engineering and financial information substantiating the claim that the Northampton lateral is at capacity, and to explain why the need for the moratorium was not known farther in advance. 2, asks the companies to explore alternative solutions, including upgrading existing infrastructure, as well as put forth their plans in the case that the Northeast Energy Direct project does not materialize. 3, affirms its support for the intervention of the Pipeline Awareness Network for the Northeast, Inc., in proceedings before the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities that relate to the Northeast Energy Direct project. And 4, ask the Department of Public Utilities to consider the project in the broader context of the Commonwealth's energy future, which should encourage conservation, greater energy efficiency, and renewable sources.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Andrew Rose, it's R-O-S-E, and I think that the issue at hand at this hearing is about jobs. It's about your job to make a ruling on whether Berkshire Gas's request to have a long-term contract with TGP is in the public interest. If we're speaking long-term, then I would ask that you consider the possibility that in the short term, maybe we do have capacity issues. Maybe we will have to use spot market purchasing and more expensive sources of energy to get through cold winters, days, several hours on 30, 40 days maximum a year when we exceed our current pipeline capacity. Those are short periods. We do have solutions, although they're expensive, but in the long run, this is not the direction we're going. We all know that we are moving towards more and more renewables, and that we're going to have microgrids, and we're going to be changing the nature of our electricity to be using less gas. In the long term, Berkshire Gas doesn't need more gas from a larger pipeline. What Berkshire Gas needs to do is plan better. Put those liquid natural gas storage tanks on the pads that are ready for them. I've been told by the former plant manager of Mount Tom that diesel, not a clean source of energy, but a short-term solution, is not expensive, easy to transport, and could take care of the short-term 5 years, 10 years out. That's all we need to have a renewable future in our hands. Thank you.
Nathan from Northampton, Massachusetts. I thank you very much for coming out to Western Massachusetts tonight. I am here to support my neighbors who are resisting the Berkshire Gas petition for a contract with Kinder Morgan. I am here as well to request a similar public hearing on the proposed contract between Columbia Gas and Kinder Morgan for gas delivery, which, as with Berkshire Gas, Columbia Gas has demonstrated no substantive need for the contract and, like Berkshire Gas, has imposed a moratorium on hookups, an extortive move towards Northampton and East Hampton. These contracts are smokescreens for building a pipeline for export of fracked gas to foreign markets. Where it can receive higher prices and higher profits. The price for us all is climate change and the devastation of the environment. I ask you to reject the Berkshire and Columbia Gas contracts and the one that I just heard about just now with Liberty and the one out east as well. I ask you to stop the moratoria that are extortive to our communities. Our future must be with conservation and alternatives, not with fracked gas. Keep it in the ground.
My name is John Fisher, actually initial H, John Fisher, F-I-S-H-E-R. I'm from the town of Plainfield, and probably I should mention, although some time ago I was a member of the Board of Selectmen of the town of Plainfield for approximately 10 years. I was chair of the board during that time. This shows how far back it goes. I also was a member of what was then the Hampshire County Commissioners. So I have some history here. And I'm going to try and be, I know you want to go home. I'm going to try and make it so you don't have to say, please speed up. But I do want to just mention that I should probably also put down here, first of all, I happen to border where the pipeline is going through. My property in Plainfield goes right along the right-of-way, so I have the same problem. The whole NIMBY thing is definitely there. And as a matter of fact, when I first heard of the pipeline coming, I really wanted to find out what the justification was. Why something that huge had to happen. The late astrophysicist Carl Sagan used to say that huge claims require substantial proof. And I really tried to look at what was going on. In this case, I realize you're in some ways looking very narrowly at, all right, shall Berkshire Gas be able to buy a certain amount of the gas it uses from this pipeline? But of course, that's another step toward the pipeline coming into existence. And I think what I ask you to do is really weigh the two things against each other. It really should fall on Berkshire Gas to show, and I've not been able to find anywhere, perhaps you have, but I've not been able to find anywhere where they really can do much more than saying, yeah, we've got a problem, and this is the way we'd really like to solve it. It might be the most efficient way for Berkshire Gas to solve the problem. But again, I think your job as a DPU, representing the interests of the public here, are essentially weigh the fact that the Berkshire Gas may have to do something potentially more costly than what they hope to do, more difficult than what they hope to do, against the huge potential environmental damage of this thing. And you have to take that into consideration. Take into consideration, ultimately, whether the message you're giving to the company you're supposed to be regulating is continue with inefficiency, continue to go for the simplest, potentially most disruptive solution, rather than coming back and justifying why. If Berkshire Gas could come back in 2 years and show, yeah, we tried everything else, this doesn't work, these are the reasons it doesn't work, perhaps then it's a time to talk about justifying something as immense as a pipeline. Again, I thank you for coming, putting up with the heat, both literal and figurative this evening, and please take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.